A very good morning, students. Our session of IBFS, that is Advanced Financial Management. Now, as far as our previous session was concerned, in the last session we had discussed about the process in securitization. Now today we will discuss about the new concept, that is securitization as a funding mechanism. Yes, securitization is the best process for the funding. It is the best process for the investment. Actually, organizations have different types of securities, and on the basis of that security, they are going to make an option for investment to the investors. So it is one of the best mechanism through which investors are going to enhance their funding in any organization through different securities. Securitization is practiced in financial field for pooling various types of debt and selling their related cash flow to investors in a form of securitization. Here, company is going to sell different debt securities, and on the basis of selling the debt security, company gave the guarantee of the security to the investors. So the interest of investors will be secured, and in a return investor get maximum return on their investment. Now, as far as the securitized assets are concerned, in which we are going to consider different types of bonds, then after pass-through securities, collateralized debts, leased assets, loanable securities, and so on. The principal amount that investors are going to invest in our security and interest that will be repaid to the investor from the cash flow received by selling this kind of debt securities. એટલે ઇન્વેસ્ટરને એની પ્રિન્સિપલ અમાઉન્ટ અને એ અસેટ ઉપર એને ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ પણ જનરેટ થશે. જ્યારે આ ડેટ સિક્યુરિટી માર્કેટમાં ઇઝીલી સેલ થઈ જશે, at that point of time the SPV, that is trustee, will repay the principal amount and interest amount to the investors. Securitization is a fund raising mechanism or technique by which a company raises the fund by selling the receivables, converting them into securitized paper. Yes, here company will sell their obligations, and through that obligation the company is able to make a huge money. So this is the best process through which company use their illiquid asset, they are going to convert into a transferable securities, and later on it will create a fund for the organization. Generally, these security which are converted into negotiable instruments will be termed as first PTC, that is pass through certificate, then after MBS, that is mortgaged backed securities, and last one, that is OB CBO, that is collateralized bond obligation. Now before starting the process, first and foremostly let's have a short explanation of the process again. Assets to be securitized are packaged to convert in negotiable tradable securities. First and foremostly, a pool of asset is going to be created by the organization, and that pool is known as special purpose vehicle, or SPV is an institute, or it is a person who is going to purchase the whole pool of the assets. Now the SPV will try to convert these securities into a negotiable instruments, and they are available to the investors for the investment purpose. Now let's discuss the entire mechanism of securitization with the following process. The first one, the process of securitization starts with identification by the company, that is the originator, the loans or bills receivable in its portfolio, to prepare a basket or pool of assets to be securitized. So first and foremostly, they are going to find out the company that which kinds of assets are going to be securitized by SPV. The package usually forms an optimum mix so as to ensure fair marketability of the instrument to be issued. Now in this portfolio, the company will collect, or they are going to add different types of security in it, and with the maximum mixture of the different securities, the risk will be reduced and it can be easily marketable in the market. Then after, the pool of assets so identified is then sold to a SPV or a trust. These kind of institutions are in the market for the purchase of a particular mortgage security or a particular assets who are illiquid and going to be transferred into a liquid form. Usually an investment banker performs the task of an SPV. Now a question in our mind that who are the SPVs? So special purpose vehicle means nothing but the different investment bank that are going to perform the role of trustee, that are going to purchase the securities from this kind of organization, which is also called an issuer, as it ultimately issues the securities to investors. Then after third one, once the assets are acquired by SPV, the same are split into individual shares or securities which are reimbursed by selling them to investors. એસપીવી જ્યારે બધી સિક્યુરિટીને પરચેસ કરી નાખશે પછી બધી સિક્યુરિટીને એક પાર્ટમાં ડિવાઈડ કરે છે, અ સ્મોલ પાર્ટમાં, એન્ડ ધેટ પાર્ટ વિલ બી નોન એઝ શેર્સ ઓર સિક્યુરિટીઝ, એન્ડ ધીઝ small parts, they are available in the market for the sales. So here the securities are converted into a negotiable instruments. Now these securities are called pass-through certificate, which are so structured as to synchronized for redemption with the maturity of the securitized loan or bills. જે સિક્યુરિટી શેર્સ અને બીજી સિક્યુરિટીમાં કન્વર્ટ થયેલી છે એ સિક્યુરિટીને પાસ થ્રુ સર્ટિફિકેટ તરીકે કન્સિડર કરવામાં આવે છે. હવે આ પીટીસી એટલી સ્ટ્રક્ચર્ડ હશે કે જે નવી સિક્યુરિટી માર્કેટમાં લોન્ચ થયેલી છે એ સિક્યુરિટી મેચ્યોરિટી પીરિયડ સાથે હશે અને વિથ ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ ઓન ધેમ. એટલે એક સ્ટ્રક્ચર ફોર્મ છે તમારી ઇલિક્વિડ સિક્યુરિટીનું લિક્વિડ સિક્યુરિટીમાં કન્વર્ઝનનું. Then after, repayments under the securitized loan or bills keep on being received by the originator and passed on to the SPV. Suppose કોઈ પણ સિક્યુરિટાઇઝ લોનનું રીપેમેન્ટ તમને મળી જાય છે તો ડેફિનેટલી એ અમાઉન્ટ છે that will passed to SPV, because SPV એ આપણી પાસેથી સિક્યુરિટી પરચેસ કરેલી છે. SPV એ આપણને કેશ ફ્લો પ્રોપર મેનરમાં પ્રોવાઈડ કરેલું છે. સો નાવ ઇટ ઇઝ અ ડ્યુટી ઓફ ઓરિજિનેટર that is to pass the repayment which is received under this securitized loan payment. To this end, the contractual relationship between the originator or the borrowers is allowed to submit in terms of pass-through transactions. Alternatively, a separate agency arrangement is made between SPV and the originator. So again it is a transfer of cash from one party to another. એટલે જે પણ ઓબ્લિગેશન્સ હવે ઓરિજિનેટરને મળે છે તો નાવ ઇટ ઇઝ અ ડ્યુટી ઓફ ઓરિજિનેટર that is to pass this cash flow to SPV on a proper manner. And the next one, although a PTC could be with recourse to its originator, the usual practice has been to make it without recourse. Accordingly, a PTC holder takes recourses to the SPV, not the originator, for payment to the principal and interest on PTCs held by him. Generally, જે ઇન્વેસ્ટરે પીટીસીમાં ઇન્વેસ્ટ કરેલું છે, હવે રીપેમેન્ટ માટે અને ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ માટે ઇન્વેસ્ટર એસપીવીનો કોન્ટેક્ટ કરશે, બિકોઝ નાવ એસપીવી દે આર ધ રિયલ ઓનર ઓફ ધીઝ સિક્યુરિટીઝ. હવે ઓરિજિનેટરનો આમાં કોઈ જ રોલ નથી, બિકોઝ ઓરિજિનેટરે પોતાની બધી સિક્યોરિટી પીટીસીને સેલ કરેલી એસપીવીને સેલ કરેલી છે. એસપીવીએ એ બધી સિક્યોરિટીને પીટીસીમાં કન્વર્ટ કરી અને નાવ પીટીસી ઇઝ અવેલેબલ ફોર ધ ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ પર્પઝ. However, a part of the credit risk as perceived can be absorbed by the originator by transferring the asset at discount, enable the SPV to issue the PTC at a discount to face value. જે ક્રેડિટ વર્ધીનેસનું રિસ્ક છે એ અહીંયા સોર્ટ આઉટ થાય છે, બિકોઝ જે ઓરિજિનેટર છે એ પોતાની સિક્યુરિટીને ડિસ્કાઉન્ટમાં એસપીવીને સેલ કરશે અને એસપીવી એ બધી સિક્યુરિટીને ફેસ વેલ્યુમાં માર્કેટમાં ઇન્વેસ્ટર્સને સેલ કરશે. એટલે જે ડિફરન્સ હશે ડિસ્કાઉન્ટ અને ફેસ વેલ્યુનો, દેટ વિલ બી ધ બેનિફિટ ફોર ધ એસપીવી. And the last step, the debt to be securitized and the PTC issues are got rated by rating agencies on the eve of the securities. The issues by the SPV could also be guaranteed by external guarantor or institutions to enhance creditability of the issuers. The PTCs before maturity are tradable in a secondary market to ensure liquidity for the investors. એટલે જે એસપીવી છે એ તો સિક્યુરિટી પ્રોપર મેનરમાં પ્રોવાઈડ કરે છે, બટ અલોંગ વિથ ધીસ એસપીવી there are the third person who gave the guarantee on this security, and these third persons are the credit rating agencies. એટલે જ્યારે ક્રેડિટ રેટિંગ એજન્સી પ્રોપર મેનરમાં ક્રેડિટ વર્ધીનેસ અસેટ્સની ચેક કરશે તો ડેફિનેટલી ઇન્વેસ્ટર્સ આર રેડી ટુ મેક એન ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ ઇન ધીસ પર્ટિક્યુલર સિક્યુરિટીઝ. And these securities are easily available in the market for the trading purpose. So it is the transformation of non-tradable securities into a liquid security, that is into transfer securities. So this is the funding mechanism of the securitization. I hope it is clear to you. Now The next point is about benefits of securitization. There are total 8 benefits of the securitization that we are going to discuss one by one. The first one, that is raising additional funds. Yes, securitization is one of the best option for raising the additional fund for the organization who have maximum illiquid assets with them. Then after growth, through securitization, growth of the poor financial companies are possible, because ultimately companies have assets but they do not have a proper cash flow. So securitization solves the problem of growth with the help of this process, that is securitization. Then after third one, conversion into tradable securities. The main task of securitization, that is to conversion of illiquid assets into a liquid form, that is into a negotiable instrument or into a transferable securities. Then after, cost is cheap. Yes, the securitization is really very cheap as compared to raise additional fund directly from the market. So the cost of capital of securitization is really very high as compared to issue of shares or debenture. Then after, development of debt market. Yes, securitization is for the debt securities. So when the debt securities are available in the market for the trading purpose, so definitely it is possible that the debt market will grow. Then after, sixth point, that is strengthening of capital. Definitely through securitization, the overall capital of the organization will strong, because our illiquid assets will transferred into liquid and the cash flow of the organization will increase with the process of securitization. Then after, return on asset. Yes, the option of return on asset is applicable in securitization, because in PTC the investors get return on investment with the repayment of principal amount. And the last one, that is long term source. Securitization is for the medium term to long term, and it is one of the best option for the investment, as investor want a long term investment for their capital raising purpose. So it's about the benefits of securitization. Now the next point, that is securitizable assets and instrument of securitization. That which assets are available for the securitization purpose. Let's discuss. Securitizable assets include term loans, commercial loans, credit card receivables, receivables from government, vehicle loan, lease finance and mortgage loan. So, in short, securitizable assets are the obligations that the organization will have on the basis of their loans or on the basis of the borrowed capital which is issued by the company. Illiquid assets are analyzed as series of cash flows and identified on the basis of their creditworthiness. They are pegged and converted into a security. Each and every these illiquid assets are going to be analyzed on the basis of its creditworthiness, and after checking their creditworthiness, they are converted into a tradable security by SPV. Now, the security that are available for tradable or for trade, they are known as PTC, that is pass through certificate, that we already discussed earlier. So, in short, these receivables are sold to investors by converting into a marketable securities. So, securitization is nothing but a sale of our receivables. We are selling our obligations in the market as a form of security to our investors. Investors are repaid principal and interest from cash flow arised on the assets. Organization will pay principal amount and interest amount when they receive the cash flow on the particular assets. The assets must be independent of the company who is an originator. When originator sell his security, then after they are not going to have any rights on these marketable securities. Under securitizable assets, the assets to be securitized should have cash flow and can be identified on the basis of their creditworthiness. First and foremostly, we are going to check the creditworthiness, and later on the assets will converted into a marketable securities. Assets should be originated through lease, housing loan, term loan, commercial loan, receivables, vehicle loan, or any other form of debt. So, this is all about securitizable assets. Now, let's have the discussion about securitized paper or instruments. Now, these papers or instruments which are converted into a marketable security and which are available in a debt market to our investors for the investment purpose. Selling related cash flows, constructual debt to investor as securities may be stated as bonds, pass-through certificate, assets-backed securities, mortgage-backed securities. So, basically, there are two types of securitized paper or instruments. The first one is PTC, that is pass-through certificate, and second one is MBS, that is mortgaged backed securities. Let's have the discussion of first one, that is PTC. Here there is no kind of mortgage or receivables on this security, but this security are backed by other types of receivables. So, immediate cash flow is possible in this kind of securities, and when the SPV, that is special purpose vehicle, receive the cash flow on this security, they are going to distribute the securities on pro rata basis to their investors. પાસ થ્રુ સર્ટિફિકેટમાં એસપીવી છે એ એવી સિક્યુરિટીને ટ્રાન્સફર કરે છે, કન્વર્ટ કરે છે કે જે સિક્યુરિટીમાં કોઈ પણ જાતનું મોર્ગેજ ન હોય, કોઈ પણ જાતના રિસીવેબલ્સ ન હોય. સો જે સિક્યુરિટી ફ્રી હશે કોઈ પણ જાતના ઓબ્લિગેશન્સથી, તે સિક્યુરિટીને પાસ થ્રુ સર્ટિફિકેટ તરીકે આપણે ટર્મ કરશું. એન્ડ સેકન્ડ વન, mortgaged backed securities. Now the name itself suggests the securities which are backed by mortgage, that security is known as mortgaged backed securities. એટલે જે સિક્યુરિટીમાં મોર્ગેજ એપ્લિકેબલ હશે, જે સિક્યુરિટીઝમાં ઓબ્લિગેશન્સ હશે, એ સિક્યુરિટી they are also known as secured loan or mortgaged backed security. Generally, housing loan, it is a type of mortgaged backed security, and there are receivables on this kinds of securities.